NTA International News.
Group wants INEC to investigate allegations of discrimination of permanent voter cards. Analysts say election postponement averts political disaster in Nigeria. Nigeria's finance minister appeals for innovating financing strategies to redress infrastructural deficit in Africa. Hello there, it's good to have you join us on NTA International News. I'm Sarah Sander. The 2015 Project Campaign Group of President Jonathan wants INEC to investigate the allegations of discrimination against non-indigents of Lagos and some other states in the northern part of the country over the distribution of permanent voter cards. This was at a press briefing by the group in Abuja. Correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports.
The 2015 project group says though INEC has extended the date for the collection of permanent voter cards to the 8th of March, many eligible voters may be disenfranchised following the allegations that some registered voters in Lagos, Nasarawa, Plateau and some other states are being discriminated at the collection units. These allegations, the group says, portend threat to the sustenance of democracy and called on INEC to investigate on the matter.
What we seek for INEC to do is to look into this and ensure that those who are perpetrating this should stop and ensure that every Nigerian citizen should enjoy the right of being a citizen, irrespective of where you choose to reside.
It further says it will not hesitate to seek legal redress to protect the rights of citizens and consequently deepen Nigeria's democracy. It could be recalled that INEC chairman Professor Tahiru Jiga had earlier assured Nigerians that all issues concerning distribution of permanent voter cards would be resolved before the elections.
For us in INEC, we believe that we would resolve all outstanding issues related to non-collection of PVCs, which currently agitate the minds of many Nigerians.
In Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
60.4% of the over 900,000 registered voters in the Federal Capital Territory have collected their permanent voter cards. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in the FCT, Jacob Jatto, disclosed this while giving an update on cards distribution in preparation for the rescheduled general elections. Uche Nwizu reports.
To exercise his franchise in the 2015 general elections, Jamil Mustafa is among the electorate excited that the postponement of the elections has afforded them avenue to obtain their PVC.
I actually misplaced my TVC and I had to explain to them that this is exactly what the problem is, and they took their time patiently and they actually got me my card.
All those have come here to collect, they didn't stay more than 2 minutes. So people will sit at home and expect that they keep talking on Facebook and all that. They can come and collect their PVC.
A visit to some distribution centers shows low turnout of eligible voters.
Unlike before, we give about 400 in a day, but now we're giving less than 100.
To ensure that the postponement of the general elections yields the desired result, INEC National Commissioner Chris Iyimoga held a roundtable with FCT INEC officials. He also inspected non-sensitive materials such as the card reader, which needs to be reconfigured to reflect the new election dates.
The essence, therefore, is to ensure that we tidy up all the loose ends and to show the citizens of this country that this will indeed be the best of the elections.
The registered people in the FCT, including the CVR, it's about 900, and we have, as at yesterday, we had given out, or people have collected the PVC 60.4%.
INEC officials urged other eligible voters to come for their cards. Uche Nwizu, NTA News.
Still on the collection of permanent voter cards, the PDP Integrity Vanguard has called for the immediate audit of distribution of PVCs by INEC to check hazy areas and ensure authentic reach to all registered voters. The group made the plea in Abuja while briefing journalists on the postponement of the date of the election. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Since the postponement of the date of the February general elections by the Independent National Electoral Commission, there have been blames and counter-blames on how to resolve perceptions in various quarters on voter card distribution. That was the scenario that also played out at this venue of the press briefing by the PDP Integrity Vanguard. The group passed a vote of no confidence on the Electoral Commission.
If INEC had proceeded with elections on the 14th of February, 23 million registered voters would have been disenfranchised.
It is in INEC interest now to make sure that every Nigerian gets their voter's card, the PVC.
The PDP group expressed skepticism over the use of card readers for the elections and also advised against disenfranchising internally displaced persons.
Identifies not just IDPs in the north-east states, but IDPs who have fled from one part of the country to the other.
They used the opportunity to call on all Nigerians to ensure that they collect their permanent voter cards so that they could discharge their civic responsibilities on the election day. In Abuja, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And the resident electoral commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission in charge of Benue State, Professor Istifanus Dafwang, and some political analysts say a political disaster would have occurred if the 2015 general elections were held from Saturday, 14th February. They expressed their views on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in charge of Benue State says the shift in the dates of the elections afforded the Commission the opportunity to improve on the distribution of the PVCs from 76 to 78% at the moment.
We were working under tremendous pressure in that we had 2 weeks to really distribute the PVCs, and I keep going back to the PVC distribution because it came late. We were distributing PVCs and also training our electoral officers and assistant electoral officers in preparation for the election on 14th.
He says adequate sensitization on voter education as regards the new voting regime with the use of card readers is ongoing.
These are innovations that we need time to educate our people properly, and with the time we have more than enough time to educate people, to help them understand the process that we have put in place and to encourage them to cooperate with us.
Professor Solomon Ubu, a political scientist and the Taraba State Commissioner for Information, Mr. Emmanuel Bello, said there is wisdom in INEC's decision to adjust the elections timetable.
Sensitive materials, PVC in particular, if by now people who are supposed to have collected it have not done that, that's a major challenge to INEC. It would have been a disaster if the elections are to take place tomorrow.
If we had gone into maybe an election, chances are that people will have been de-enfranchised. So we're using the period to ensure that people get their voters card, and like I say, we're doing that by encouraging them to massively come out and get the card.
Nigeria's former ambassador to France, Ambassador Akin Fayomi, enjoined the international community to strike a balance in its level of interference in Nigeria's domestic issues.
Nobody wants interference in the domestic affairs of his own country. I mean, that means we are mortgaging our sovereignty as it is. And in diplomacy, you don't do that. You know, there is a limit, there is a balance to how far you can be seen to be interfering. But at the same time, Nigeria is on an island on itself, right? And an extremely important country.
Still on the elections, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has urged students to capitalize on the postponement of the general elections to collect their permanent voter cards. The students' body at a press briefing in Abuja also urged Nigerians to have confidence in the Independent National Electoral Commission and the electoral process. Correspondent Joseph Orok has details.
The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, says the body has watched the political development in the country with keen interest and is satisfied with the reasons offered by INEC for the postponement of the elections. On the way forward, NAN's President Tijani Usman Shehu says Nigerians must give support to security agencies in the intensified fight against insurgency.
We must first and foremost thank the government of this country for not equally disenfranchising Nigerian students by closure of our institutions. Our institutions are now opened. So for those of us that are registered on our various campuses can equally stay behind to get their PVCs from their various campuses, 1. 2, for those that registered outside the campus in their various homes can equally have the opportunity to go back to their various homes to pick out their PVCs. And for those that have not collected, we believe will use this opportunity of this postponement to get back to their various registration centers to get their PVC.
The students' body expressed appreciation to all patriotic citizens for sustained belief in Nigeria, noting that NANS is totally against attempts by some countries to dabble into the affairs of the country. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
And President of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Mohammed Garba, has commended political parties and their candidates for the maturity exhibited following INEC's postponement of the February general elections. Mohammed Garba was speaking at a media briefing in Abuja. Correspondent Anthony Forson reports.
Having taken stock of reasons advanced for the postponement of the February polls, Mohammed Garba said it is heartwarming that the candidates were magnanimous in accepting the change of date.
We saw the leaders of various political parties coming out to appeal to their followers to accept the postponement in good faith. I want them to extend the same strategy, the same appeal to their followers at this material time of campaign, as well as during the election and after the election.
While calling on INEC to keep to its words, he called on Nigerians to assist INEC by collaborating with the Commission. On the President's media chat, which came on the heels of the postponement of the elections, Mohammed Garba noted that the President's explanation to issues raised were reassuring.
The NUJ is indeed very, very happy that Mr. President has reassured Nigerians with all the necessary assurances that the issue of May 29 terminal date is sacrosanct, and he has also told Nigerians that there is no plan whatsoever to either retire Professor Jega or sack him by government.
In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
In the meantime, a group known as Buhari Friends Organization Network has called on Nigerians to accept the postponement of the election in good faith and continue to campaign for the success of its candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari. This was during a meeting to review unfolding political developments in the country. Abdullahi Garba Birnunkudu reports.
The meeting, attended by states coordinators and national leadership of the group, reviewed strategies and urged members not to relent despite the election postponement, but to step up issue-based campaigns. Speakers stressed the need for non-violent conduct in the campaign, in line with the ideas of General Buhari and the APC ideologies.
Ours is to call on our members and Nigerians to maintain peace at all times, including during and after elections, as there can be no meaningful development in any crisis-ridden environment.
And the 6 weeks is less than compared to the number of months we have been given support to General Buhari. Therefore, let's persevere and continue to work hard. In fact, let's take advantage of the 6 weeks by mobilizing more people to support General Buhari.
I'm going to use this to ensure that we educate our women so that, they know how to vote. We can have a dummy of, the ballot paper, and we can have an ink. It will not cost us much. We go house to house, door to door, bus stop to bus stop. Even the Rugan Fulani, the Fulani settlements. Let us also ensure that we teach them how to vote.
Buhari Friends Organization Network has branches in all the states and the FCT. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Another look at our major stories. You earlier heard that 2015 Project Campaign Group of President Jonathan has advised INEC to investigate allegations of discrimination of PVCs. We also informed you that political analysts have said that the postponement of the election has averted political disaster in Nigeria. Still to come, Nigeria's finance minister appeals for innovative financing strategies to redress infrastructural deficit in Africa. Details in a moment.
In 2012, the Nigerian government reduced the amount of subsidy paid on petroleum products and chose to invest its 41% share of the safe subsidy funds into the Subsidy Reinvestment and Empowerment Program, SURE-P. Today, we'll look at the numbers. SURE-P has achieved 50% decrease in maternal mortality rates and 40% decrease in neonatal mortality rates in Nigeria. Over 8,500 skilled workers have been employed for public works. Over 1,000 mass transit buses have been provided for the public, and 40 Priority 1 roads are undergoing maintenance throughout the country. SURE-P has created 185,000 jobs, placed over 20,000 graduates in the Graduate Internship Program, and trained over 1,000 auto technicians at the National Automotive Council. 1,200 health facilities have been supplied with drugs and medical equipment. 520,000 pregnant women have received care, resulting in over 100,000 deliveries in SURE-P MCH facilities. These are just some of the ways SURE-P is making life better for you and I.
SURE-P, delivering service with integrity.
Nigeria, we the people decree that the power of evil secrecy shall fail.
All Nigerians should understand that a divided Nigeria can only mean catastrophic consequences for the entire black race.
We all African countries count on you, and you are our beacon of hope.
That when Nigeria sneezes, all of us will catch cold.
All of us who look to Nigeria for lessons and inspiration never cease to thank God for this wonderful gift to Africa.
Nigeria enjoys the respect, the admiration, the friendship, and the hope of an entire continent.
The powerhouse of Africa.
Nigeria.
Unite and build Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria.
A message from protectors of Nigerian posterity.
Thanks for staying with us. The Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, has been commended for instilling sanity in the polity as the nation consolidates its democratic process. Minister of Power, Professor Chinedu Nebo, gave the commendation when he paid a courtesy visit on the DG NTA, Shola Omole. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday was there.
We're so glad with what you're doing.
Professor Chinedu Nebo says the Nigerian Television Authority is using its large platform to project the true African perspective and describe the content and quality of signals from NTA as the new face of the organization.
NTA has gone a long way to instill purposefulness, unbiased reporting of events, in an atmosphere that is so charged by politicians and politicking.
Professor Nebo, who promised to continue working with the NTA, says the Ministry of Power, in its efforts to provide good services to all communities in Nigeria, is now using the renewable energy.
No other administration was talking about coal to power. This administration has gone beyond talking about coal to power to a point where the EPC contract of one of the coal to power plants is at the verge of being signed and the execution to take place very shortly. Nobody can stop the sunlight from coming. Vandals cannot do that. So this necessity has pushed us to make sure we find other alternatives to gas.
Director General of the NTA, Shola Omole, says the new NTA is anchored on professionalism and will continue to promote national unity and cohesion amongst Nigerians.
with these ladies and gentlemen who are supporting me, we intend to carry NTA to a global height where we become a global brand recognized internationally as a major television network.
The ministry assures NTA of placing the station on a priority transmission line. In Abuja, Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
African leaders have been implored to develop innovative financing strategies to redress the continent's infrastructural deficit and other developmental needs running into multi-billion dollars. Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, stated this in Paris while speaking on financing innovation for a shared and inclusive growth in Paris, France. Finance and Economy correspondent Cliff Ayozie reports.
Infrastructural development, especially power and roads, extending to other socio-economic needs of the people, remain challenges of developing nations like Nigeria. This is because they require enormous funding. In the view of experts, Nigeria requires between $90 and $120 billion annually to address its infrastructural needs like other African nations. To assist nations, financial innovation for a shared and inclusive growth receives special attention at the just concluded France-Africa Forum. Here, Nigeria's Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and her French counterpart set the tone.
Public-private partnerships, where I think Nigeria has two very good examples, Second Niger Bridge and Lagos-Ibadan, where we are trying to develop that instrument. We are going to talk about inclusion. How do you get people who have been excluded? And you know, we have a very good example of the identity card with the chip, the MasterCard chip, which if
million euros at least mobilized to finance projects for the mitigation or adaptation to climate change.
From one speaker to the other, innovative financing is described as apt for developing nations to tackle their huge infrastructure deficit.
Diaspora funds, you know, the pension funds are huge pools of money that we need to actually utilize more. And to make those work for us, I think we need to do a lot more in terms of credit, enhancement facilities, in terms of risk-sharing facilities to be able to use them, and to promote quite a lot of, PPP.
Guarantee of financing of investment, of risk perception on Africa, and I think all this together will be this issue tackled will be able to bring Africa to the next level of growth.
While experts say no nation could build its infrastructure depending on public finance, public-private partnership, expanded tax regime, reserve and sovereign wealth funds, extending to pension funds and the capital market were among options highlighted. Cliff Ayozie, NTA News.
On the foreign scene, fierce fighting after Minsk peace deal as Egypt is ready for Libya evacuation. Olayinka Ojo reports on this and Germany's readiness to mark 70th anniversary of Dresden firebombing.
Intense fighting has been reported in the eastern Ukraine a day after the peace deal was reached in Minsk. The battles were over control of the town of Debotiv, a strategic town between rebel-held areas. With the ceasefire agreement to begin in the eastern Ukraine after midnight on Saturday, the EU has warned Russia of additional sanction if the deal is not respected. In another development, Egypt has offered to evacuate its citizens from Libya after Islamic State released photos which it says shows 21 Coptic Egyptians kidnapped there. President Abdel Fattah said a special committee was closely following events in order to clarify the situation. He also warned Egyptians not to travel to Libya, while those already residing in the country were urged to avoid areas of high tension. Also, commemorations are due to take place in Germany to mark 70th anniversary of the bombing of Dresden, where 25,000 people were killed in British and American attack. The German President Joachim is due to attend the event in the Church of Our Lady, which has been rebuilt since it was destroyed in the Second World War raid. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
And talking sports, Nigeria's Golden Eaglets in high spirits ahead of Sunday's 2015 African Youth Championship opens against hosts Niger Republic as world champion Usain Bolt vows to sweep the stakes at Rio 2016 Olympic Games. Ayodeji Makinde has details on Sports Update.
Coach Emmanuel Amuneke has advised the Golden Eaglets to remain focused when they file out against host Niger Republic in their first match of the 11th Africa Youth Championship, Niger 2015, slated for Sunday at the General Sani Kunche Stadium in Niamey. The Eaglets will ride Niamey Thursday are to train Friday and Saturday to strategize for the crucial tie before they also play Guinea and Zambia on February 18th and 21st. The preliminary stage matches of Continental Club football take center stage this weekend in the CAF Champions League and Confederation Cup. Nigerian champions Kano Pillars are in South Sudan to take on Al Malaika FC, while 2004 champions Enyimba welcome Parakou-based Buffaloes of Benin Republic to Aba. In the Confederation Cup, Dolphins are in Equatorial Guinea for a crunch tie against Leones Vegetarianos, and RCB of Burkina Faso host Wari Wolves. President of the Nigeria Olympic Committee, Habu Gumel, Thursday paid a visit to the training camp of the ongoing Kids and Play program in Abuja with a call on the organizers to widen the scope of the initiative to include other sports aside athletics.
The current players that are in different sporting activities, they're getting older and older. So you have to have a program where you can groom the younger ones.
World's fastest man, Usain Bolt, will make a run for 3 consecutive Olympic gold medals in the 100, 200 and 4x100 meters relay next year at the Rio Olympic Games. The Jamaican sprint star, who made this known in New York, says his best is yet to come. With sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
And that's the size of our bulletin at this time. Thanks for staying with us.